Ranger. Ranger, we are going to say things. This is what we need to have right at this moment. I'm not used to having this way. So let's go ahead and go Ranger. Denote our stuff from Ranger. Favored enemy blank. I'll just fill that in later, I guess. We're not going to worry about that right now. Track, and then wild empathy. Those are good things to, of course, always have your book on hand or your SRD or notes on what all these things do, because this section here, not going to be enough. Alright, so that's that. So up here again, I'm going to bounce all over the place, I'm sorry. It's just how I think. So, +1 for BAB right now. So base attack is +1, not 61, +1. Very kind, it fills them both out. Thing to note, really important. At level 2, right here, you do not go +2. You know, you do not make that a +3. It is then, instead of +1, it becomes a +2. It can be very confusing, I know. Something to remember. The reason it's pluses is because it's to add on to your dice roll, as well as if you multi-class, you can stack things, and it gets really confusing really fast. Sometimes. Alright. And we have good fort and good reflex, which is really cool. 2 and 2. Nice. Not so nice right there. So here we go. Current HP, I'm going to leave that blank because we're going to pretend we're going to print this out later. So, next thing to do is go check your skills. So, our skills are climb, concentration, craft, blah 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 blah. Very, not always will this sheet do this, but it will fill these in if it's something it recognizes, especially core class. So it already filled a lot of these in. Note, this sheet, the checked part means it is a cross-class skill, which means it takes more ranks to put into that. For instance, if I put 2 ranks into appraise, it counts as 4. 4 points, and you only have so many points. I'm going to put speak language down here, just because I always do. Now down here, because it's very nice to know, 6 plus int, so that is 6 plus int. That is how many skill points you get. So at first it should be 6 plus int times 4 is, we have 2 int, 8 times 4, 16, 32. We should have 32 skill points at first level. We'll find that out in a minute. Now a good way to remember is just go, okay, so we have 6 plus int equals 8. So there are 8 skills we can just put 4 into, because your first, that's why it's times 4. Because your max skill points at first level is 4 in any specific skill. So, easy way to remember is just, okay, so I have 8 times 4 skill points, I have 8 skill points to play with. Or 8 skills I can max. Generally, you want to max skills specifically instead of spread it around. It gets kind of difficult to keep up when you spread it around. Mind you, you can do a good job doing that if you are creative and get good rolls or have good ability scores. For instance, if you want to put stuff in climb, you have a +3 in there, so you don't really need quite as much in there as you would, like, say, I don't know, listen, because listen has a -1 right now. So, let's see. Climb, concentration, we don't need, why do we have concentration? Oh yeah, because we have spells. Handle animal, blah blah blah. Things we're going to want are mostly search to try and find tracks, listen to try and detect people, knowledge nature so that we can do stuff, let's see, survival, because survival's helpful. I think that might also be track, who knows. Spot, because spot's good. See, already we've got a lot of them used. Now we can play with a few. Let's go ahead and throw in, well actually I like to be on foot, so we're not going to do that. We could throw in the other 2, what are they called? Knowledge skills. then we'd have one left, and we'd go handle animal because that's kind of a standard. I think that's a good run, so we're going to go ahead and do that. That was Dungeoneering, Geography, and Nature. Dungeoneering, Geography, Nature. And we're going to cross-clause that one because we don't actually have a fourth one. So, I said we wanted to do handle animal because we have, like, no charisma, so we're going to need skill points in that. We have heal? Huh. I'll think about that in a minute. We're going to do Dungeoneering and Nature, for sure. Boost our listen skill. Open Don't want to do ride because I don't like riding on horses in this game. You can. Mounted combat's really, really good. There's actually a mounted combat line for the rogue or ranger, I believe. We're gonna boost our survival. We don't have tumble. That's weird. All right, so we have 28. That means we have one more skill to do. Now I just realized we had heal. Heal is helpful. If you have a cleric, it's not necessary because really it's only useful for a few things, but it can be useful. That's the important part. Also, craft and profession are almost never used. They're used to make money, basically, cheaply. Like 5 gold after an entire day. It's pretty much useless, unfortunately. It should be useful. And there are things that you can use them for, just not very often. Yeah, we're going to be pretty in your face, so we're going to play up the nature-y thing. So he's going to be kind of outdoorsy, so geography will be helpful. So that's all of our skill points. Now again, let's go look at this. 2 in listen, 2 in search, 2 in spot. So let's go ahead and go to, where is it, listen. And in the miscellaneous category, we'll put 2 in there. That makes up for that -1 pretty well. Search, put in 2 in there. It's a nice search check. And then spot, put 2 in there, make up for that -1 as well. This is looking pretty nice now, isn't it? Now over here, let's go ahead and go feat. Because we're going to put our feats there, and we'll go first level. And since we're on, since we're at first level, what should we do? What should we do? That's actually a good question. In the feats section, what we're probably going to be doing, because we're doing a lot of melee stuff, is we're going to be doing a lot of straight up crushing things. We're actually doing 2-weapon fighting, but without the dexterity to back it up. Normally, 2-weapon fighting, well actually we do have the dexterity because of an elf. Normally, 2-weapon fighting requires 13 dex. In fact, I can find it. It's in the T section, elemental P, QR's T. Right here. There we go. Prerequisite. Oh no, we don't have the dex for it. But, if you remember the text of the combat style for the 2-weapon fight, for the rogue, ranger, it says you get it even if you don't match the prerequisite. Which means, yes, we don't need dex 15. We're a ranger. We just do it. That's pretty cool. Mind you, you still want to have a light weapon on your offhand. Hey, you know what? I know something special. Let's go ahead and do oversized weapon build, because why not? I believe all it requires is that. So I'm actually going to break the easy stuff here, and I'm going to go into a crazy place. D&D tools. This is a compilation of a bunch of information. Not perfect, but it's helpful. Oversize, 2-weapon fighting. What do I need for this? If I need the dex... Yes! We only need strength 13 and 2-weapon fighting. We already have 2-weapon fighting from Ranger. We can go straight into this. What this allows you to do is use a one-handed weapon and a one-handed weapon for your main and offhand. Normally you need a light one, otherwise you get massive penalties. This is just going to be fun. Oh, we could do that, but that's not necessary. We're going to do double longsword, because why not? Or, no, there's no point in that one. So, I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice for oversize 2-weapon fighting. Wow. Weapon Fing ting. Thank you. Now, this is not an optimal thing to do, but it's what I want to do with this character. Oh, wait, I can't do that yet. I don't have 2-weapon fighting yet. So what I'm going to do is, because we get this at 3rd, I'm going to put it at 3rd. And I'm going to paren it, so I know that I don't have it yet. We still have our first level feat, though, so let's go ahead and go back to the feat section. Weapon finesse would be good if we had a lot of dexterity. We don't. Let's see, what's another thing we could do? We're going to get endurance anyway in next level. We don't need to shoe materials, because that's kind of silly. Especially because we're a divine caster. I guess we could do exotic weapon proficiency bastard sword, so that we could do a lot of damage. You know what? I'ma do it, because why not? It's gonna be cool looking. So let's go ahead and do that. Exotic weapon proficiency bastard sword. Bastard sword is known as the hand-and-a-half sword. Essentially, it's a two-handed weapon, but it's just barely a two-handed weapon. Of note, you can always two-handed any one-handed or two-handed weapon for a strength and a half, which is why two-handing is actually better. Which means I'm actually wasting my time. Moving on. But if you take exotic weapon proficiency, it becomes a one-handed weapon for you. Which means now, once we get to 3rd level in oversized 2-weapon fighting, you can go bastard sword, nah! Which I think is funny and cool. And since we're not worrying about super optimized stuff, this is great. We still have the points to back up a lot of our gumption, and we have our ranger to actually give us a lot of oomph with this. So that's cool. We got that set up. Later, a good thing to do is later on figure out, what do I want to take at 6th level for my feat? We'll probably take, like, power attack, or, like, well, no, we'll take, probably, I don't know, we'll figure it out then. It's always good to at least have the next level and your next feat level figured out, and we already have the next feat level. So, moving on, we have no spells to worry about here. Currency ranger. Where's our starting currency? I know it's on here somewhere. I think it is. Gold? No, it's somewhere else. Starting gold. Wealth and money. This is not where I wanted to be. So riveting, isn't it? Whatever. You start with a certain amount of gold and stuff to pick. Give me here. This will tell me. I think it tells me up here. I know it tells me somewhere. I know it does. It has to. Oh, here we go. It's in the random starting gold section. Let's see, where was range? 150. So we'll start with about 150 gold here. 150, which lets us GB play. Let's also fill in our common language and Elven. And we add a 14, which is a +2 modifier, so we get 2 more languages. We'll go Sylvan. And let's go ahead and go with... everyone takes Draconic. Was Dwarven on that list? Let's go ahead and say Dwarven. I'll check it later. Later being like in 5 minutes probably, because I'm so obsessive on rules. Alright, what we're doing after this... No. We can take, Orc, though. Take Orc. Alright, so equipment is where we're going next. Let's go in here. Let's go ahead and start with some armor. We'll get a low cost lion armor, which would be, let's go ahead and go with leather. So that's 10 GP. We could actually go with 100 for a chain shirt, but that's actually dangerous, or not very good. So actually, let's go studded for now. Studded 25. Let's go ahead and pull out a notepad for this. Armor, studded, 25 GP. I don't need to spell this correctly right now. So that's our tentative equipment for armor. Weapon, I've already decided anyway. We're going to go with bastard swords because that's cool. So yeah, it should say in two-handed have like sword bastard, but it doesn't. It actually is a two-handed sword, just straight up martial. So if you have martial weapon proficiency, you can use a bastard sword, your hand-and-a-half sword. But if you exotic it, it becomes a one-handed. So that's 35 GP. It's a good thing we checked this. We'll buy another one later when we get 2 weapons. Sword. Interesting note. Katanas, Japanese katanas, are noted as bastard swords in D&D. So if you want, you can stylize this as having double katana. I actually like, when I'm doing a double weapon with bastard swords, to be, you know, the kind of broadsword it is. So there's that. Let's also grab us a longbow, because there's no reason not to. Longbow is 75. Actually, I think I'm running out of money. Longbow. 75 GP. Arrows 20 is 1 GP. So we're actually running low on money now. Thank you, motorcycles! You are so nice! Man, that makes me grumpy, those guys. Stupid hilly areas, you know? Alright, and let's go ahead and grab some basic supplies. Backpack, 2 GP. Bake pack, 2 GPs. Barrel basket, bedroll. Bedroll is a silver point. Bedroll. Silver is a 0.1 GP. Copper is a 0.01 GP. Good to just remember it that way. It's actually way easier. La 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 la. Things we need. I'm just going with basic stuff. You can fill in more stuff if you want. Very basics are like your backpack, your bedroll, and there's a truck outside. Great day. Where is rations trails? So we want rations. Let's go ahead and get about 5 of those because I like that. It's easy to multiply. Rations were 5 solar points, so... Oh, let's get 6 so it's easy. So x6, and that would be 30 GP. Wait a second, what? 5 times 6 is 30 silver points. 3 GP. That's better. Alright, let's go ahead and put this on the sheet for now. So, everything's going to go here. Back. And that is... So, hold on. Let me do some quick math. 5 plus 75 equals 100 plus 35 equals 135 plus 1 equals 136 plus 2 equals 138 plus 0.1 equals 138.1 plus 3 equals 130, whoops, 141.1 GP. Alright, that's how much we've taken off from our 150. Which means we now have a grand total of, what? 8.1 GP. Or 8.9 GP. That's why I added it up. So backpack, and its location is blah. There's actually weights to put in here, because you actually have a light, medium, and maximum load capacity. A light load means that you can move at full speed. If you have a medium load, you are restricted to 20 foot per wherever, and so on and so forth. A heavy, you're still at 20, but you also take a bunch of penalties to your skills for your like activity skills. Which I should note, there's a bunch which are subject to our armor check penalties. Depending on your armor, it's more and more restrictive. We'll put that in later. Good. And where were we? We're going to put stuff in here. I have to worry about weight right now. So we'll put in bedroll. Put that on pack somehow. Rations X6. I know these used to be a pound each, which is kind of bad. Pack. 5, I believe that's how it was. Oh wow, I'm good. Alright, and now down here I like to put my equipment. Let's see. Studded leather armor. Do have to wear this, which is unfortunate. And that is a 15 pounds. We have bastard sword, standard, which was 6 pounds. Yeah, think about that. That's 6 pounds in your hand you're swinging around. That's leveled away from you. It's pretty interesting. Longbow is 3 pounds. Come on, hands. 3 pounds. Longbow. Arrows, 20. 3 pounds. 40. We're already getting closer to that limit there. We're not even... And I think we're done. Armor, bastard sword. Alright. I'm not going to note those because they're on equipments. So, weapon. Bastard. Sword. Total attack, it's normal, so I'm not even going to note that. If this were a masterwork, or it were a +1 weapon, you would put, like, combine your melee with that. So that's a number right there, you know. I haven't actually used a bastard sword forever. I don't remember its numbers. That is a D10. I like that damage. It's D10. You don't use a D10 very often. D10 hit die. It is a sword, so it's an 18 to 20 X2. In other words, if you roll an 18 and then you roll to hit them again and you hit them, then you do twice as many dice rolls. And you double your modifier to its damage. That's pretty cool. Range, it doesn't have range. It's not it's throwable, but it's really crappy for throwing. No special properties. Its weight, we noted, was 6 pounds. It is a medium, so it's made for us. Its type is slashing. Straight up. Just does slashing damage. Over here we have our longbow. It has a damage of, I think, a D8 it was. Checking it. Longbow is a D8 for medium creatures. It, I know, is a 20 over X3, which means you have to hit with a 20 and then confirm it to get triple damage, which is pretty cool. Its range, I believe, is 110 feet, or 100 feet. Yeah, and it is 3 pounds. It is for a medium creature. And it is piercing. That's all the weapons we have. Studded leather armor. Leather armor. This is probably getting... That is not how you spell armor, is it? It is... Why does it look weird? Moving on. Type is light armor. AC bonus is 3. Check penalty. This is what applies to a lot of things. Studded leather has a -1. So whenever you do like a jump check or a swim check or something like that, you take a -1. Stealth checks too, which is really annoying. Maximum dexterity, which is the amount of dexterity you can put on at the same time as this weapon is 5. You can have dexterity of 5 and do it. Let's see, its weight was 20 pounds, 20 LB. I have messed that up earlier. It has a 20% spell failure, which really doesn't matter, but it's fun. And your speed is restricted to 30 feet. We don't have shields, and we never will, because I don't care about them. And that is your base character set up right there. Now you can add little notes about it. Like, I like to tell me about, like, elf traits. And then I go blah 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 about my elf, what the elf traits do, and so on and so forth. I'll show you a completed sheet, actually, for that. Let's go ahead and save. And that is your first level character, like I said. That's, bam! Everything you really need to do to get started. I even showed you how to, like, predict everything in the future. Leveling up is pretty simple. You roll your d8, you add it on here. Usually people make you reroll ones. Add it onto here and add your constitution modifier. At 4th level, you could add 1 to one of these, and so on, so blah blah blah. A lot of this is very straightforward. The base attack bonus and the saves are the only thing that get a little confusing sometimes, really. Get more skill points to throw in there. You get more ability things on there. For instance, like, next we get our we get combat style second. Next we get our combat style, which we're going to be 2-weapon fighting. And there, and there, and there, and there. That is basically what we've got. I know this isn't really clear, and I really want to hear your guys' questions, and I'd like to try and answer them. I'll probably make an addendum video to try and answer questions after this. Do ask your questions. I might go into something else. Remember, every video I make on this series, ask questions if you got them. I will always answer them. If it's a good enough one, I might compile a bunch of them together and make an addendum video. As such, though, this is all for now. I've probably been talking for like hours now. Just an hour. Whole hour, that's really fair. So, there we go. That's mostly it. I hope this has been helpful. I keep forgetting to look at the camera. Yeah. There's your first character. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'm probably going to just do some sidebars, which are just me talking about random things, D&D related. Another reminder, go with the standard race for your first race. Please, it makes life easy. Because I know you want to be a Minotaur Barbarian, but you can't do that at first level. The first time you can do that is like 4th level. Also note, it's very overwhelming to start at 3rd level, which a lot of games do. Take your time, just build it at 1st level, and then level up to 2nd, and level up to 3rd, and then ask them how much gold you start with. And then overwrite your original gold with that. That's... A lot of people don't like starting at 1st level, because 1st and 2nd level, you have so few hit points that you may just die. Like, straight up die in 2 hits. It's called Russian roulette, basically, when in D&D. Low levels are Russian roulette, which means it's just your luck against their luck. If you have a kind DM, he'll not give you a bunch of deadly things to fight, or he's using a good module for beginners, or so on and so forth. Just know, and this is something very important for Dungeons & Dragons in general, you can die. Your character will die. Very likely will die. There's no invulnerability. There's close to it, but you can die at any time. At higher levels, it's actually easier to survive because you got more resources. But you can die. Do not be afraid of death. Trying to avoid it, but do not be afraid of it, because it will happen. Sometimes in stupid ways. There's something else on that I wanted to talk about. Death, destruction, joy, having fun. So yeah, always be prepared to make another character, especially at lower levels. Be prepared to... Yes, and be prepared to run away. You do not have to fight everything. You can get experience for running the frig away. You do not have to fight everything you come across. It's actually really dangerous and stupid to do that because you will die very easily. Because, surprise, surprise, you might be against something you can't defeat. Yes, you're at a disadvantage if you come back after them. Yes, they might cause trouble. But in real life, would you go fight something that you have no hope of killing? Not really. You might put up, fight for a little bit and then go, well, shit, and then run away. Though with the dragon, you're probably never going to run away because they can see you forever. Anyway, I'm well over what I want to do. I've probably split this up into 2 parts as it is. Hope you've enjoyed. Please write in comments any questions you have. Suggest what I can do next. I might make another character, like a spellcaster, because they're very complicated. And I might just show off a few things I've done, because I'm a, egotistical bastard. Whatever the case, hope you enjoyed. Hope you gleaned some information. Hope you have questions. Hope I didn't insult you. Have a good day, and I'll see you later.